Hey everyone, welcome back. So, I wanted to just talk shortly about communication. At least I hope it's going to be shortly. But, well, my videos, they tend to go a little long sometimes, so can't make any promises there. Which actually this already is a part of communication, right? I'm trying to set the stage for this video, and I just realized I'm saying something that may not be true. So, I could choose to completely ignore it and hopefully it'll be a short video, but if it's not, then I basically lied. Or I could just own up to the fact that I'm apparently not really good at making short videos. So I figured I'd get that out straight away. Now here's something fun about that, because I don't know if you've ever noticed, but a lot of people are not really good at owning their shit. And I mean, like, not good at all. They will not admit if they understood something wrong or if they may have said something different than what they actually said, they just will not do it. They will try to figure out every single excuse or reason or anything to throw your way other than actually owning up to that. And I get it because communication is a difficult thing. I mean, we depend on it, we do it every day, but it doesn't mean it's easy. We mess up so many times. It is one of the reasons why, if I'm like on a phone conversation to a company and they tell me information that is important but extensive, at the end of it, I will always say, before you hang up, let me summarize what I think I heard. Because I want to make damn sure that, especially if it's about like the well being of my clients or the well being of my family or my own well being, I need to know that I got what I heard correctly. So I will mirror back to them what I believe I've heard. And if I'm right, great. If I'm wrong, they'll tell me what I missed or they tell me what I misunderstood. And then I got the right information. And it is such a simple thing to do, but it is so effective that when it comes to important stuff in normal conversations, I sometimes do the same thing. Or I'll ask someone, listen, can you mirror back to me what you think I said? And it's surprisingly how many times, surprisingly, it is surprising how many times someone doesn't quite get you. Maybe I didn't explain it well enough. Maybe I thought I was clear, but I wasn't. Maybe that other person just doesn't understand what I mean. Maybe their mind are in another place. There are so many reasons why that can go wrong. So to me, it is so important to check. And it is too easy to assume. And the thing is, if you assume and you don't check, then after that, there can be entire arguments based on a misunderstanding that could have been prevented if everyone was just a little more careful and clear at the beginning. So that's one thing. Let me give you a fun example of this moment I had where someone very much did not have the same fun conversation as I was having. And I've experienced this before to an extent, but never to this extent. It was it was amazing, right? This person. We were both in the sauna and we were getting dressed and I just had a conversation with, it was a lady, a lot older than me. And we were having a conversation and we're talking about different things. And on every single subject, I would pose a situation or a question or a theory or something for her to reply on. And her reply did not match what I said. It did not match what I put forth. Let me give you an example. We were talking about football. She was going home early to go see the football game. Or soccer, as some of you might say, because, Holland, Europe. So I'm going to call it football, by the way. Just, you know. So she went home to see the football game. I was going to say soccer, you hear that? She went home to go see the football game. And she said, so I asked her, who are they playing against? Because this was like the home team. This is like our team. Here we go. And it was the home team. And she said, oh, it's this like smaller team. So, you know, so I said, well, they got a good chance of winning if they don't underestimate it. They actually got a fair shot at winning then. And apparently, in her mind, something else was happening. She was having a different conversation because her reply to that was, yeah, yeah, I guess there is a chance that they could lose. What? No, no, no. I said, there's a good chance that they will win. She said, yes, there is a good chance that they will lose. Very different conversation. So, what I think happened there is, in her mind, she was answering for me. She was saying what she would have thought that I would have said. Instead of answering what I'm actually saying, she's answering the thoughts in her mind out loud. So I put that to the test and I posed some other situations. Like, I just told her, hey, listen, in the sauna, I have learned to take 3 towels, one big one and 2 smaller ones, one to actually towel up and one to kind of like dab myself dry in between, so that at least I know that I can be here comfortably. So yeah, 3 towels for me. And she says, yeah, yeah, always get a big towel. Yeah, always get a big towel. Very important to get that big towel. Yeah, okay. Kind of missed the obvious connection there, but okay. Fair enough, fair enough. I got you. Let's see if there were other ones. Oh, yes, there was the one about the massage. I told her, listen, I went and got a massage today. I figured I'm here. I'm spending the day. I'm going to these different saunas. So I'm going to make the most of it and I'm going to get me a massage. And she says, yeah, I don't do that because the one people who do the massages here, and I do it too gently. So I guess I could tell them that I don't want to rub a bit harder, but just they're a bit too gently for me. So I said, yeah, well, you probably could. Yeah, you probably could just tell them. And I'm sure that if you would say it, they indeed would put a bit more pressure in there. And her reply, again, amazing, was, yeah, yeah, they do always do that just too gently. Yeah, that is the perfect reason for me to not do a massage here. And I had like several more subjects, but not too important. But I never experienced that to that extent. I made it a hobby at that, but I was just throwing that subject after subject to see if it would happen again. And it happened every damn time. This woman was having a completely different conversation in her own head than we were having in real life. That has never happened to me before. It was amazing and I loved it. Not, I didn't love it for like making fun of her or anything, but it's just, I'd never seen that to that capacity. I've seen it in smaller ways, but never with every single turn. And I decided to just not go, from the get go, I did not correct her. I just decided to observe it and figure out what the heck was going on there. Because she seemed like a smart enough lady, but I guess she just has a lot of conversations in her head. No, I do too. But, when you're in the moment and you're actually having a conversation, kind of try to be there. It really helps. It makes it a lot easier. But that is an example of how difficult communication can be, right? Now, of course, you have communication. It's not just the words you say, it's also your body language. Pretty big thing. And when I studied, we had some information on body language, but I have since learned that the information we get doesn't quite fit reality. Because here's what we got from my study, right? I studied social work, got my bachelor's degree many, many years ago, but still got it. So I sat there and they talked to me about, and this is the stuff they teach, right? To this day, this is the stuff they teach. If you're having a conversation and someone crosses their arms, that means they are closed off. If you're having a conversation and someone crosses their legs, that means they're closed off. If someone is lying to you, they will avoid eye contact. Well, okay. If someone is open, they will make eye contact, they will sit up to upright, they will have their palms up, and they will, have everything uncrossed. And that is how you know that they are open. And that is when you have a conversation. If you want to have a conversation, make sure you do that as well. And you know what? To an extent, yes. I now know that to an extent, sure, if if you show your palms, at least to a degree, that will give someone the idea that you are a little more open-minded and a little more easier, a little safer. So the chances of them actually opening up to you, yeah. And yes, if someone has their arms and legs crossed tightly and the rest of their body is tight, 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 then there's a pretty good chance that they're closed off. But if they're just leaning back with their arms crossed and seem relaxed in any other way, why would that be closed off? Could just be that that posture is comfortable to them. If someone crosses their legs, it could just be that they enjoy crossing their legs. That could just be a comfortable position for them. It doesn't mean they're closed off to what you're saying. But that all depends on the person. It depends on the rest of the person. It is not a one thing fits all. In fact, what I've recently learned is that someone who will sit with their legs crossed may actually be more comfortable because it would take them more time to get up and leave. So someone sitting cross-legged may be more comfortable and therefore more open to whatever you're saying. So there are some very specific things that would have needed to go with that information that I got in school. And thankfully, I kind of figured it out along the way as I was doing it. Because if I would have just have the conversations based on that, I would have given up. So thankfully, I did not take that for gospel truth. So and the lying thing, it turns out people who are lying would actually make more eye contact. Not always, but a lot of the times, to make sure that you're buying the lie, to make sure that you're buying into it. Because they want to check if, you know, are they buying it? Is the lie landing? Or do I need to do more work? So they can actually make more eye contact than you're used to. Kind of like I'm doing right now. So yeah, there's that, and some people will look away because they're embarrassed or something like that. But again, it's not 100%, but it is being taught as if it is, and it's not even being taught. It's like a few lines in a book and a few words spoken, and that's it. When the one thing that is telling about communication is our bodies. But it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of energy and it takes a lot of practice to learn it. I should know. I only just started. Like, I've got my books, baby. I've got I've got my books. I've got all the best ones right here. So I'm kind of interested in this and this at this point, but it is astonishing how much misinformation there is out there. And it's also astonishing how little you learn about that when you're in a social profession. And I guess I get it because the actual things that I've learned so far, they cannot be proven in laboratories, right? And a lot of study materials will say that they will need that, at least that's what they believe they need. The evidence would suggest otherwise, but okay. But still, it is such a big part of communication, and we learn so little about it. And the things we do learn are shockingly incomplete or even incorrect. So that's just the thing, man. That boggles my mind, to be honest, to this day. But it is part of communication. So on the books I was just showing, The Ellipsis Manual by Chase Hughes. If you're ever going to get into this guy knows his stuff. And I mean, legit, 100% knows his stuff. It is going to terrify you, it's going to educate you, and it's going to open the freaking world to you. And it is very, very, very useful information if you're into it. So these are the two books. There's a story to it. And I will make this one short because I already did that on the other video as well. You had What Everybody's Saying by John Navarro, an ex-FBI agent. So, he kind of knows his stuff there. And Understanding Body Language by Scott Rouse, who is such an expert on just the body language on its own and how to read people, how to do all that. And he breaks it down in such an easy to understand way that this is just a very good book to have if you're beginning at this and you just want to get that practical information and you just want to get a leg up on everyone else. I would suggest this book. So these two, right? I just told you about sauna. Now in Holland, when we go to a wellness place or a spa sauna place, everybody's naked. Yeah, I mean they can wear a robe, but underneath that robe, there's nothing. There's no swimsuit, nothing, right? And it's mixed. Man, woman, all ages, all size, all types. It's all there. I once saw a woman with a cane, which is very odd to see a woman with a cane in a sauna, wearing nothing but a cane. It's amazing. But um, as you're sitting there, at some point you kind of want to take a break, right? Because you do not want to go hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, hot, cold, and not get your breath. So I'm sitting there and I'm figuring out that I'm very used to observing people. It's one of the greatest things to do, right? Just people watching. But it's a little odd to do that when everybody's naked. So I decided that that was not a good idea in that situation. And I figured I can do a few things. I can grab a book, which I brought, or I can look at faces, which is fairly safe, or I can get very, very interested in the trees outside and, the architecture and all that. I got very interested in the faces and the architecture. I did not grab my book. Now, the book I chose to bring with me was Untamed by Glennon Doyle. It's an easy to read book, has little chapters, so I figured, you know what, that's a good one to have. But I'll tell you the book I almost brought. One of these two. Because I figured if I'm gonna be that relaxed, then any information I take in is gonna be remembered easily. Thankfully, before I left the house, I realized that the next thing to creepiness after observing body language when everybody's naked is opening a book with the words understanding body language or what everybody is saying. Can you imagine the responses that would get if someone is sitting there interestingly reading a book that says body that big and people are just walking by naked? That would have raised some eyebrows. So I decided against that. And figure out where you are and what you're choosing. Again, It's communication. Think about what you're communicating when you're doing that. No one in there is going to think, hey, she's interested in learning body language. They're going to see the word body. They're going to figure out where they are. They're going to freak the fuck out. That's what's going to happen. Now, I may one day be brave enough to actually do that and just see what happens. That was not that day. I was not brave enough to do that. So I just figured I'll go with the safe choice. But yeah, by the way, I could have taken an Ellipsis manual, but I didn't have it yet. It came 2 days later in the mail, actually. So that would have been my choice if I would have had it. But you can see why it is important to think things through, right? Communication is not just what you do in the moment, it's also your preparation. If you go to a solicitor to a job interview, you don't dress yourself in sneakers and a sports outfit. You dress yourself in a way that's represented for the job that you are trying to get. It's not difficult. Communication is preparation as well as communication itself. So, with that, I am actually done for today. And like I said, it's not a short video, although I did one before and it was like half an hour. So, I still beat that. If you're interested in body language, I suggest you go look at a YouTube channel called the Behavioral Panel. It has four guys, two of which I have owned books of: Chase, Scott, Greg, and Mark. All four of them have their own specialties in body language and communication and everything surrounding it. And they are laying down some amazing analysis and observations and explanations on the stuff we see on TV. So definitely check that out. It is worth it. And yeah, who knows? You might get as addicted to it as I am. Another channel that actually brought me to that channel is Spidey's channel, which is the behavioral arts. He too has a great way of just picking apart these clips, these videos, and giving us his spin on what the body language is saying, how to interpret it, how you may interpret, and how it's not a full science. It's just an idea and a suggestion because, you know, both channels are basically saying that you are never 100% sure. Even in lie detection, you are never 100% certain that it is deceptive. You can just see something change. You can see someone get uncomfortable, and that's why you need to figure out why. So, oh, and one more thing, just to give you a little heads up. If you're going to look for changes, it always comes in clusters. It's never just one thing. If someone starts to blink more, doesn't necessarily mean that there is something wrong. If they start to be shifty and move their head and do other things as well, maybe pay attention. That's one of the things that you are going to see a lot of in these videos that both channels are very famous for. So if that interests you at all, make sure to check it out. And yeah, let me know what you think of it in whichever way you prefer. So that's it for now. Now I'm really gonna end this video before I'm gonna be at the 30-minute mark again. So thank you for watching and I will see you next time. Bye.